Yeah, Nick, that's yeah, we were gonna try cam twist, but that was actually accidentally going to be starting when I opened the window. So no big deal. So let me see what we got here. So we got a couple of familiar faces here. What's going on, Eileen? What's going on, Nick?
Hello.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Not too bad. Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Awesome. So for everybody watching, I'm currently working overseas. So we're going to test out the internet here and see how it works. I've not done any live streaming all week, actually. So far, so good. Knock on wood, right?
That's right.
So, by the way, I just want to welcome everybody to this week's episode of Social Chatter. My name is Christian Karasevich, CEO and founder of Social Chefs, and I'm here with my co-host, Nick Rishwain. What's your role with experts.com?
I'm the Vice President of Client Relations and Development for experts.com.
So you want to just give everybody, I guess, you got anything new, anything going on today or, the next couple of days?
Working on a continuing legal education webinar for lawyers with social media as one of the aspects that we're working on. So we're doing a couple of free webinars first, and after that, we will apply to the California Bar Association to start teaching attorneys how to manage and market with social media. This is not our target audience, I might add. Attorneys we have sort of a two-part audience. The expert witnesses are our members. Attorneys search our site looking for expert witnesses. So we'll be teaching the attorneys, and hopefully that will get them to understand that we're there for them, and a great way to lower the cost of litigation by finding your expert on experts.com.
Awesome. So thanks a lot for taking a minute to tell everybody about that. I know you were doing a little, I think, practice run through either before the show or after the show.
It's actually after. I was confused when we talked about it after the show today.
So we'll work to keep this to 30, maybe 40 minutes at the most. And we've got a lot of good topics today. So just a quick heads up for everybody. If you have any questions on anything, you can tweet me at, let's see. So I'm going to put these in the chat window for everybody, actually. So we've got at Social Chefs. That's my brand. We got at CK Rocks. That's my personal account. And then Nick, you're at what? Experts.com.
Experts.com VP, all spelled out.
Awesome. And don't forget, guys, use the hashtag social chatter. That way we will know what all you've got, if you've got questions or anything, or you can use the chat here. And if you're watching, whether it's on the YouTube channel or in a blog post, you can also go there and leave a comment there as well, and we'll answer those. So
and I guess I should pull up the hashtag social chatter so I can watch that as well.
Awesome. And so I'm gonna go and kick things off. What do you think? Let's start with some Twitter news.
Let's do it.
Okay, so topic number one for today, by the way, is from Twitter. Twitter is now allowing longer than 140 characters in tweets. And this was actually announced a number of months ago. And I'm excited about this. I've been using it a little bit, and I'm like, wow, like I have so many more things I can say. I can put hashtags in there. I can, tag more users. I can really change the message.
Yep.
So this is actually really good that they're doing this. So the way that this feature works, by the way, I'm putting an article in here too, by the way, because Buffer has put together a tremendous article on different things everything you need to know about the whole 140 character update. But basically, what it is in a nutshell, previously when you used 140 characters on Twitter, that included anytime you mentioned somebody, any hashtags you used. It also included any links you included, if you attached an image, and so forth. And when you put all those things in, it basically meant you had very little space to work with. But now, when you put that in there, for example, make sure I get these right. So you will be able to include media
So-
attachments. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so my understanding, if you wanted me to take, I actually pulled it up while you were doing some other stuff. It looks like, so if I'm writing to you at CK Rocks,
Uh-huh.
and I do the at CK Rocks, that isn't counted against my 140 character text. Same thing if I attach media or an image or something like that, that used to cut into your limit.
Mhm.
And that now doesn't apply. Was that where you were going with that? It felt like you were
Yeah, actually,
kind of tweeting or doing something on the side, so I figured I would jump in and.
No, absolutely. That was actually where I was going. So, I guess the first part is the at reply. So, for example, previously, when you start a tweet with somebody's name, it's not going to count towards 140 characters. That's really awesome. In addition to that, though, so you talked about, like, when you include media attachments, when you attach a photo, a video, and so forth, that's not going to count towards your limit as well. And then the other thing that is also very different is previously when you would send out a tweet and you started with a person's name, only the people who were following you and that person would see their tweet. But the workaround was, hey, I can put a period in front of it, I can put a space, put something. Now that's also going to change. That doesn't really apply to the limit. It just means that when you start a tweet with
At CK Rocks or at experts.com BP.
Right. You don't have to be following, for instance, those people to see their tweets. Everyone will see the tweets.
Okay. Oh, I missed that part in the article. I didn't realize, because that was kind of a nice thing. If I just wanted to reply to you, kind of, especially in a Twitter chat where maybe we're joking around a little bit and it's not really quite for the Twitter chat or something like that, I could just reply to you and somebody could go and look at your tweets and replies and see it there. Right. But if it was it was a little bit more, if you're trying to leave something out and I just wanted Christian to see it while we're in a Twitter chat, that was nice. So I'm not sure how I feel about that aspect of it, but not the end of the world as long as you're treating things professionally.
Absolutely. Just remember, anything you put out on the web, that's something that anyone's going to always see. They could screenshot it, so like, just don't think that anything you share on Twitter, for instance, is ever just private.
Never.
Anything can be public. So just keep that in mind with whatever you're sharing. Another thing I also wanted to just quickly mention about this is if you're using any sort of third-party tools. So, for example, if you're using Hootsuite or Buffer or Tweetbot, which is one of my absolute favorite Twitter clients, some of these have not yet been updated for to support the new 140 character limit. To support the changes to the 140 character limit. So you do have to keep that in mind. If, for example, you try to use the tool and you're like, hey, it's still including stuff, there's a good reason that they might not have updated it yet. So just keep that in mind.
From our business account on Buffer, my experience today is that it's already changed for our Buffer account.
Tweetbot, they also did it. I wasn't able to test the tweet yet, but I suspect if they haven't done it yet, that they will.
Yeah. In fact, the article also mentions that this was mentioned in May, and so we've all kind of been patiently waiting for this to happen. So today, when I was writing and I had all these characters left over for some of our tweets, I was like, this is interesting. So it finally took place, at least in our Buffer account today. So. And now it's going to change how I do a tweet, because I was doing real short and sweet text, and now I probably have 2 or 3 or 4 more words I can use.
So do you think, just a quick, let's just get your feedback. Do you think like this is going to really affect business owners? Because, for example, now that I can write more, I don't have to be as concise. What do you think?
It's a great question. And I found my first inclination when I was putting a few of our tweets together today, my first inclination was to keep it short still, because when I started adding, and I'm going to play with that a little bit. You can certainly do more hashtags now. So probably doing 3 hashtags is not the end of the world today, but I'd still limit it to 1 to 2. but I don't know. I am wondering, we're so used to it. It's going to take some, so used to doing it really concise that now you may be using words that are unnecessary, or you're adding more information that may not be necessary. I kept most of our tweets pretty short in my play with it today. Still almost working with it as though everything, the image and anything like that, was taking up space.
Yeah. So I would say, if I'm a business, I think that I would experiment with this. Don't, do kind of what Nick has kind of talked about here, which is, if you find yourself going back to the shorter tweets, like, stick to that formula, because it actually makes you say more, with less. Mm-hmm. Just because you have the space doesn't mean you have to use it.
That's
so, right. By the way, just a quick answer, Eileen, if you ask, as we're talking about the tools, if Post Planner has done this update yet, I don't know yet. I haven't heard anything about a new Post Planner update. I know that Tweetbot, Buffer, and Hootsuite, those are the main clients that a lot of people use for Twitter. So I think Tweetbot literally rolled it out the same day, if not a couple of hours after the announcement that it was live. So I would say, just check out the Post Planner tool if you haven't, and see if it's actually got the updates. I haven't seen anything myself, but that could change. So
good idea.
Topic number 2.
All right.
This is referring to some more Twitter news, and this is about new customer support features for businesses from Twitter. And this is actually another really good, a very useful tool for businesses. Basically, what this is going to do is going to let you tell users that you provide help on Twitter. And it's actually a really good idea that they're doing this, because a lot of people, when they're using Twitter, or let's just say anyone who's going to get help on something from a business, they don't know where to turn. They don't know, for instance, do I go to your website and hit the contact button? Do I go to your Facebook page and click your contact button, or send you a Facebook page message? Do I send you a tweet? Do I leave a comment on a blog post? What do I do to get in touch with you?
Mm-hmm.
This new feature is basically going to let you tell users when you provide help on Twitter, and indicate when you're most active, and help ensure people know they have the option to send you a direct message.
I like this.
This is very cool. Yes.
You know why I like this so much? Because where do we go when we want to complain about a business? An airline, for example, right? Mm-hmm. And you want to tag them, mm-hmm. and make a complaint about the service that you're getting. This is giving them the opportunity to actually get the direct comment from you.
Absolutely.
And reply to you without having it. This is really giving businesses an option to have better customer service, so that they don't have to deal with the trending complaints that can come from, say, their whole system being down. I know that an airline experienced that a month or two ago, and it was, that can become a social media disaster for them right away. If this mm-hmm. gives them an opening to maybe tackle that head on early mm-hmm. on, I think this could be, I'm going to call this good for crisis management as well as customer service.
And a couple of things I just want to highlight for everybody here. So I'm going to put in the chat window as well here. So I gave you a link earlier. But if you go into the article that Twitter shared on this, take a look at the screenshots. So a couple of things I want to point out. So one thing we said, hey, you know what? They tell you how responsive you are. This is very similar to what Facebook does with Facebook pages. Mm-hmm. They let you see how quickly a page can typically respond. But if you go to the link that I just shared, what you're going to see there are underneath the bio, there's a responsive section. So for example, they're using T-Mobile as an option, and it's saying that they're responsive 24/7. Now, in addition to this, if you happen to be searching for T-Mobile, and this is probably the part that I think I really like the most, is that you can see, if you go look at the screenshot, there's a T-Mobile account, there's a T-Mobile Help, there's a T-Mobile at Work account, and the T-Mobile Help one specifically says provides support. And this is going to be extremely useful, because there are a lot of a lot of businesses out there, for example, that have Twitter accounts for different things.
Yep.
And what's the biggest issue, that most customers face? They don't know who to actually contact. For example, they don't know, do I go to the help one? Do I go to the at work one? Hey, because it's a work related one. Do I go to the personal one? And so this way, it actually is going to, help direct the customer which one they need to be using.
And this saves businesses a lot of headaches as well on the replying portion. If we tell the customer up front who I should be communicating with, then those at T-Mobile regular or T-Mobile at work don't get a bunch of unnecessary correspondence. So it funnels the correspondence to the correct user.
And so another thing I would also suggest you do with this. So if I'm a business, let's say I'm going to go turn this on, and it tells you where to go, basically how to set this up. But basically, there's literally a box that you check, show that my account provides support, and then you put your hours in. And that's all done through your settings, the customer support settings page, actually. And I'll give you a link to that as well.
That'd be great, because I was trying to do this before the show and was struggling with it, but I don't think that I read full disclosure that I finished the article. So that was probably I'm sure it was user error.
Well, so here's the thing. If I'm a business, let's talk about how a business can quickly use this. So obviously we know they're going to be able to tell people they provide support and put their hours in. Right. But if I'm a business and I start using this, the next thing I want to do is I probably want to schedule out a couple of tweets. I want to put a couple out to tell my audience. For example, it could be from let's use T-Mobile as an example. They could send a tweet that says, hey, just a quick heads up, if you have any questions, feel free to check out our at T-Mobile Help account. That's where we answer our questions. So they could be very upfront and direct to all the customers, all their followers. But what I would also do is I would encourage you to pin a tweet to the top of your account, telling people, whether it's to give them a screenshot and, use and point an arrow directly to the place that they need to go to send this message and whatnot. But basically pin a tweet telling people, hey, if you have any customer service issues, don't just tweet us, for example, go here instead, or click on this button. That way it'll help minimize the questions you get, and it'll help direct people where they need to go.
Right. Yeah, and for a small company, you may want to tell them that we're a relatively small company. We may want to tell them we'll be responding between 8 and 5 Pacific time, Monday through Friday, or something to that effect, so they know when to get a hold of us. Not unlike having your office hours or your hours of operation on your Facebook page.
Absolutely. And, remember, you as a business owner, you set the times that you're open. I mean, you don't have to be there providing support 24/7.
Yeah.
Granted, if you're, for instance, and I want to say this because I work for a very large brand, or a very large company. Like, we have tons of different Twitter accounts, and don't think that we have one person managing an account. A lot of times, a lot of these huge brands, they have multiple people managing it. They have people, for instance, covering the morning shift. They have people in the afternoon. There's a slight overlap, and then there might be someone else covering the evening shift. If you're a small business, you don't have time to do that.
Right.
So set your hours at a reasonable expectation.
Yes.
For example, if you're open, from like 9 to 5, maybe your time to respond is going to be 7 to 9 in the morning, or 7 to 9 in the morning and 6 to 8 in the evening, for instance.
Right.
But limit your time. Don't just say, hey, I'm open 24/7, because you're going to be just running around like a chicken with your head cut off.
Yeah.
If you have a hard time, like keeping up with the support, and your business will suffer as a result, not just like monetarily, but people will say, hey, you don't provide good customer support. So
yeah, and the only reason I use the 8 to 5 for us is that I generally have our Twitter open between those times. I'll open on my desktop and I can respond quite rapidly. Don't have that with every one of our social channels. So you want to make sure to direct your traffic to those where you have somebody who's got eyeballs on it or is getting notifications.
So no, absolutely, just excellent points you made.
All right,
so,
next one.
Rolling. So topic 3, Instagram is tweaking call to action buttons and video link ads. And we've got 2 topics actually for Twitter today. So that's just part of the That's part of the news.
Mm-hmm.
There's a quick link to that article if you want to go check it out. And if you want to tweet it, if you find that article like useful, let me give you another quick article as well for that. But have you had a chance to look this one over, Nick?
The Instagram one?
Yes.
I'm looking at it right now. I did not read this one ahead of time. As you know, I'm not the most avid of Instagram users.
Oh, no worries. So I'll actually take this one. So basically what's happened is Instagram's rolling out 4 advertising tweaks over the next month. 3 are related to the call to action button. And then the 4th has to do with the video link ads. Again, Instagram is owned by Facebook. But basically what Instagram has found is that, their call to action buttons, they're not capturing the attention of users a lot of times. And it's that's where it's really important to choose the proper call to action button for your for whatever it is you're going to run.
Yes.
And so what they're going to do basically is they're rolling out more action. They call them action driving enhancements to link ads. Basically what this is going to do is they're looking to drive more visibility, more interaction for people on Instagram, and also drive better performance for advertisers. Because for instance, if you use the same type of button for everything, it's not necessarily going to be effective. It might be effective, a very small percentage of the time, but by adding, more buttons that are basically more action driving, it's going to help. You have your people that your followers, for instance, are going to probably take a better action this time than they normally would.
Okay,
that's basically what's going on. You're going to get, you've got the learn more option, for instance. That's one type of button. For instance, if somebody puts in, for instance, so this is interesting. So if you are going to share something on Instagram from an ad, such as price, destination URL, or an app store rating, they're going to actually automatically add it to the call to action button. So for example, they might say learn more and then direct them, for instance, back to your website. So instead of just saying learn more, they're telling you what the website is that they want you to go to.
Okay.
So that's actually super useful. Now, as far as the video link side, when people unmute a video, basically what they're looking to do is they're looking to take you to the destination URL while the video is playing, almost like a little split screen action, which is kind of neat.
Okay.
There's actually a really good example in that article as well. But basically, it'll let people keep looking at the video, because remember, the videos aren't very long, but it'll start to drive you to the actual place that they want you to go.
Okay.
That's a really good win for businesses. If you're getting into Instagram, Instagram has, a lot of people said, well, hey, how do I get people back to my, my links and, back to different articles and whatnot. So that's really important that they're making the switch, because ads, for instance, they're going to become, continue to become a major player, requirement per se on why you're using Instagram.
That's right. And all these other channels that we discuss.
Absolutely. And everyone's going to be a little different. I mean, your business, for instance, might not fit the Instagram, just the Instagram setup. You might not have the right kind of content for that.
That's why we've avoided it thus far, because it just doesn't seem to be the type of content that is going to appeal over there. It's not necessarily, although some members of our company, some of our experts who are in trial presentations and things like that have some really awesome stuff that they might share on Instagram. What we have as the marketing company for some of these people, the visuals are a little less are a little more limited.
Absolutely. And and that's probably one of the fascinating things I think about Instagram is that if you I was kind of thinking, I've had a lot of time to think every morning. I'm 7 hours ahead of everybody. And so you get a lot of alone time, let's just say that. And so it's giving me a lot of time to look at some accounts and see what types of things, for instance, I could be sharing. For instance, I started posting a lot more on Instagram over the past few days. And, and I've thought about it. I said, well, hey, what kinds of things would I post? Do I want to get into the whole quotes thing? Because that's great, but it doesn't really, do anything for my business. That's not, really what the point is. So for me, for instance, I've looked more at doing like little short videos, for instance, that tie into other things that other initiatives I'm already doing. But you really have to look at your own business and say, hey, how does Instagram fit into my strategy, or does it fit into my strategy? If you're not sure, look at other brands. Like look at your competitors. See what your competitors are doing. Say, hey, what are they doing? And is that something that I could or should adapt in my business? There's nothing wrong with testing out a few things and then like going and doing something else to another network and then coming back to it later on. At least you've tried it to see, how it actually resonates with your audience.
Right.
So
right.
These are really good updates. And that actually, go.
I've got an issue that just came up that I want to know if Eileen or Kelly are seeing, but an ad just played in front of your face on Fire Talk. Did anybody else see that? I'm going to message you so speaking of interesting advertising and video, I'm going to message it to you right now. Okay, so Eileen didn't see it. Kelly, Kelly's using us as a podcast, which I like that aspect as well. Anyway, you were on ads and that happened. So I wanted to see if anybody else saw it. I'm going to send it to you now via Messenger.
Where did it appear actually? Because I didn't see it either.
On my setup, it showed up. It would have been. Well, it would have been right here on you.
Huh. That's interesting. Yeah, I didn't see it. Okay. I don't have any pop-up blockers either on for that, so that's fascinating.
I don't think I have any. I'm on the MacBook Pro right now, and I don't think I have any pop-up blockers on set up on it. So I think it was a Fire Talk specific issue. If I can figure out how to, I'm just trying to send I'm sorry, I'm now doing too many things at once.
Aren't we all right?
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll send it to you in a second when I didn't know if you were done with that topic, but you were talking about ads, and I was witnessing an ad from a company that has not been particularly open and communicative to their users, from what I understand from other users. So,
yeah. So no, I didn't see it, but yeah, I was done with that, and that's a good
good
example.
Segue. Yeah.
Well, so actually, the other thing I wanted to mention real quick from an Instagram standpoint, this is actually topic number 4 for today. By the way, Eileen, did we know that Fire Talk got acquired or merged? No, actually, well, let me rephrase that. We sort of knew something was up. We didn't know all of the details, actually, because we have been we were trying to figure out why we were able to do a free version, but we were not able to do that again for another episode I was trying to schedule. So if you happen to have a link to that, actually, feel free to drop one in the comments. I'd love to check it out. While I wait for that, I kind of wanted to move on to this topic 4 real quick, which is the other side of Instagram. So we talked about the whole ads aspect. We talked about how they're tweaking these buttons because, hey, you know what? They want you to use they want you to have opportunities when you're using Instagram to get business out of it. So the other thing, though, you need to make sure you're doing is, so I have 2 things, actually. One is you need to make sure you're using an Instagram business profile. And this isn't really, I guess, per se a topic for today. Not Instagram business profile. What I meant to say actually was Instagram is also rolling out a new feature. This has actually been available for, let me see how, I want to say it's been about a month probably, but basically it's a drafts feature that they're rolling out. And it's now available to every single person on Instagram. And this is a very useful feature if you're an Instagram user, because I can create drafts anywhere I'm at. So for example, if I only have a couple of minutes and I want to hop on Instagram and start putting together maybe an image that I want to post later on, I can start doing that. And I don't have to worry about, it's not something that like I have to finish right then and there. Basically, I have to just start the item, maybe add some text, add an image, and it will ask me to save a draft. And then I can start it and stop it whenever I'm ready. Nick, have you had a chance to, do you think this is actually...
read up on our next topic, or are you, Instagram is I'm still in the early stages of playing with that and seeing if it'll be any value to us. I am up to date on the next topic though.
Well, so let me get one last thing in there, and that's
Okay.
just really the fact that what I meant to say was, in addition to the whole, the changes to CTA buttons, the changes to, having drafts on Instagram, also leads me to the fact that if you are a business, you should consider setting up an Instagram business profile. And there's a lot of reasons why you want to do this. So we talked about, ads, for instance, but the other things that are very useful for an Instagram business profile is that you not only get recognized as a business on Instagram, which is great, you also get some features. You get analytics/insights. So you'll be able to go in and see, for instance, which of your posts are working, which are not. You'll actually be able to learn who your audience is based on your followers that you're gaining. You'll be able to see your follower growth, and you're also going to get a couple other things. You're going to get you're going to also get access to an Instagram contact button on your profile. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to take your Facebook page, you're going to link it together with your Instagram account. It's going to pull in your data from your Facebook page, i.e. your email address, your phone number, your mailing address. And then when somebody goes to your profile, they can now click on it and get access to contact you in whatever means possible. So that's the third part that I want to just mention real quick about Instagram.
Okay.
So,
excellent.
And I will say this: it takes less than 5 minutes not even 5 minutes to make the whole switch if you already have an existing Instagram account to a business profile. So definitely spend the time doing that because it's well worth your time. Because you'll also then be able to run ads directly from your Instagram post. Your ads then will also have those new call to action buttons that we talked about.
Cool.
So that's topic 4. Eileen, by the way, thanks a lot for sharing that. We'll be sure to check out that press release. Apparently it was Snap Interactive to merge with Pal Talk. And then I guess Pal Talk owns, Fire Talk maybe. I guess that's kind of how it works.
So that could explain the pay-per-view thing that we got this week and the ad that I just saw.
Absolutely. It's kind of strange, but yes, that could definitely explain it. So, so with that, I'm going to get to topic 5, and and this is one I think you're going to talk about, right? You're going to talk about the Facebook page cross-posting. Is that right?
Yeah, I like this. This is cool.
What is it? Tell me what it is. What is this?
Yeah, so Facebook makes it easier for brands to cross-post videos produced by publishers. So Facebook pages, your business page, can now give other pages permission to cross-post their videos without those other pages needing to upload the video to Facebook themselves. So this appears to be, if I want to, I can give the Social Chefs page the ability, if I thought it were a good move for the company, I could give experts.com page, could give the Social Chefs page the ability to post Social Chefs videos to the experts.com page. Am I reading that correctly?
So basically, yeah. So it's basically a page can take a page can take a video it's a video, and they can have it where it then can also be available to specific accounts. So for example, it can go to experts.com. It can go to my Christian Karasevich page, and basically your videos then are allowed to be cross-posted. And this is actually a very interesting feature. I'm really excited about this because of the fact that, for example, let's say it's Facebook. So Facebook, a lot of times, by the way, Eileen, before I go into this, Eileen, if you want to get to that link, just change out the Social Chefs part for your Facebook page URL, and it will actually take you directly to your cross-posting section on your page. So just a quick heads up. So the way that you find this, you go to your Facebook page, you go to settings, and then there's a cross-posting section on the left-hand side. And you basically go there and you can add in a name or a Facebook URL, and then they're going to get a link. For example, experts.com, I added you to the Social Chefs page, the cross-posting feature. And then all you have to do, you'll get a confirmation link, and then you just have to add me, and then that's it.
Okay.
So that's basically the way it works. Now, the benefit to this is, for example, if I wanted to have social chefs go and share for example, let's say I wanted to share a video and I wanted to give experts.com access to share that video. All I have to do is upload it, and then you can cross post to multiple pages. So basically, you click the upload video section, click cross posting, and then there's a little toggle next to the page's name, and then you just finish adding the details of your post and hit publish. So look at it like this: it's more like I can publish to multiple pages at once.
That was rather than I have to sign in to one or go to each page and post the video over and over.
Right.
So this is really helpful if you're managing multiple pages, or if you're doing some cross promotion with other brands.
Or testing, this is also a good thing that, I'd say if you're not sure if you want to use this feature, I'd consider testing this to see, for example, if you run two similar Facebook pages, if you get any lift or, any added benefit between posting it, for example,
little A/B testing here.
Absolutely. Post it on one Facebook page and try the cross-posting feature, see how it works. Maybe the next time what you want to do is upload the video again, take the video, put it on one page, and then use the share function and see if that actually works better. See which one you get better mileage out of. Personally, so here's the thing. I could really see this being very useful if I'm Facebook, because a lot of times when Facebook has something new, they will publish a video, and sometimes that video is not available for you to share. And so what do you end up with? You end up with a link with an image back to a blog post, which, really you read the article and it's like, hey, watch the video. So the benefit I think to this would be awesome if, for example, if I'm Facebook, I'd love to see a global feature where I could make Facebook pages accessible to like every business and anyone with a Facebook page that might be in a certain like category, for instance. So then that way, if maybe they have something new coming out, they could almost like push it to another page and have like a section where the page gets notified, and then the page could say, hey, this would be useful for me, let me share it.
Interesting.
That could be a real, and by the way, that's not, but I could see that being useful.
Yeah, that is interesting. Now, the thought that came in for me was more cross promotion or co-branding. If we're one of the attorneys that we interact with regularly, who's heavy on social, where we may be able, maybe I misunderstood it, where we may be able to post to their page without having to have them do it, or vice versa. They've got something that they want to share on our page, and we allow them to do it without us having to upload that video.
Yeah, so that actually would be the way that it would work.
Okay.
Is be able to upload something. For example, you're basically giving somebody approval to cross post. So basically, when I added experts.com, basically I'm saying I'm managing my cross posting relationships, basically.
Okay.
So my videos are allowed to be cross posted, for instance. So
let me see if I got. Trying to figure out where I got that notification if you did add us, or if you haven't. I don't know that there would be enough other than our show. I don't know that there would be much cross promotion between us and social chefs on a regular basis. But yeah, I have not.
I'd say check your notifications at the top. Sometimes you have to go to the notifications on the page. So
yeah, you're right. Oh, there it is. No, I'm still nothing yet.
Well, there should be something. Also, in the settings menu, there's also a section for cross posting where you actually will get a link that you can copy and paste and share with somebody.
Oh, okay. All right.
So that's another option. By the way, I just want to give just answer some of Sarah's questions.
Yeah, good.
So Sarah, I'd say I've got a couple of things here for you. So one is every single week I put these out as a blog post. And so I'm going to put a couple of links in there for you. But if you want to look at, like, for instance, episode 51, 52, 53, et cetera, each one of those is actually over on a blog where there's a blog, there's a video, and there's a written recap. If you want to actually see or get notified, the other thing I also have is you can text 33444. or text, social chatter to 33444. That's going to put you on our email list. And what we'll do is we will actually give you a notification about the topics we're going to cover for the week, and we'll also give you a link back to the previous post that was written. So let's see, cross posting. So that's cross posting. What you have any other topics you want to talk about?
No, I think it's a great idea. I like the cross posting. I think we go right into the tools now.
Oh, but by the way, one last thing I wanted to say about the cross posting thing is this is how I can see this being very useful. Let's say I'm a celebrity. I would probably want to tap into the whole cross posting aspect. For instance, if somebody's managing pages for celebrities, maybe you want to have, maybe you've got a husband and wife team, for instance, you may want to use some cross posting there to share on one page and then share it back to another. That way it's a little less work on that side. At the same time, this would also, if you're a manager of a lot of different accounts for a business, let's say it's a Starbucks and you have just 5 pages, for example, this would be a good way, for instance, for you to quickly share that content as well.
Right.
Across those pages without.
Yes. As I only manage the one page, I was thinking more in the co-branding or that space than managing multiple pages and being able to publish it to multiple pages really easily, which would be a huge time saver.
Definitely. So let's get into the tools and wrap things up.
All right.
It's called Elementor, and this is a very neat landing page library, basically. So you can design something, you can save it, you can reuse it. That's their whole, their tagline. Basically, you can build your website, you can build single pages for your sites for certain things, and use all of their different elements built on their site.
Okay.
So it's essentially like a landing page creation tool.
And it's a free landing page creation tool, as I understood. Is that wrong?
It is, yeah, actually. And you can download the tool as well. So basically, they have an option to let you download some things here. But yeah, that's basically what it is. And I'm not going to say, for instance, I like a lot of different landing page tools that are out there.
Okay.
But I'm also always looking for other ones that are available that make things a little bit easier.
Yeah. Yeah. Because some of them can be pretty complex. And you're like, I want to throw this thing together and have it up and ready for the event.
And here's the thing: a lot of businesses, they go into this thinking, hey, you know what? They think that, I'm going to put it like this tool looks really easy, and I'm going to build it in 5 minutes. And honestly, it takes more than 5 minutes to build a page.
Yeah.
It takes more than 5 minutes because you don't just build the page. You need to test it. You need to make sure it works. Yeah. You need to incorporate it into your marketing. So You're not going to be able to do that in 5 minutes or even 30 minutes. But these tools, if something is basically pre-built, it can be a good way for you to get started.
And if you don't need it too complex and you're trying to get it done in a rapid amount of time, anything that makes making the landing page easier, I'm all for.
Absolutely. So that's tool number 1 for today. And like I said, free tool, check it out. They have a lot of really nice looking designs. There's a lot that are really streamlined that I really like about that as well. So
excellent.
So that's tool 1. Let me get tool 2. Tool number 2. This one is actually called Timezoner for Slack. And you can probably figure out why I might have brought this up.
Yeah, because you're in a different time zone.
Working in a very different time zone today. And this is a neat little tool. Basically, it's a calculator to figure out the difference in hours and local time of any place around the globe. And what's neat about this is it's a tool designed for Slack.
Right.
Now, I don't know how much you use Slack, but I use Slack a good amount.
Okay. I don't use it very much.
I work with a lot of cross-functional teams. We have people in a lot of different locations. And so what we do with, it's kind of hard a lot of times to coordinate something. And so what's typically going to happen? People are going to say, hey, can you send me this? And you send something to somebody, you get no response. And then what happens is, they're on a different time zone. Well, okay, let me email it to them. Well, then by the time you email it to them, they're not necessarily going to have, they might get it, but it might be like, for instance, too late in the day and so forth. So this way, if you're in Slack, you at least will know to get the different locations of somebody, for instance, around the world, right from within Slack.
Right.
So, and it's cool. It's a command line tool, but what's neat about it is you can just type /tz and it'll give you, for instance, you can do /tz 12 a.m. And then like a location, for instance.
Okay.
You put 12 a.m. like Egypt, and it'll tell you, okay, well, what's the time? So then that way you can get your current time and you can see what time it is in that location.
Yeah.
But the cool thing,
I like this. What I've used in the past was timeanddate.com when we're communicating with members throughout the country and outside the country. That's where I went. And so I always had to go to this website. So I guess if you're in Slack, this seems to me to be more internal usage than external. So if you have employees in different time zones, it'll be more beneficial than, or if you're for some reason you're having a project with people in different time zones, it'll be more useful. I used to just go and punch in the timeanddate.com world clock, but this would be handier, that's for sure.
And I'll say this, so I also brought this up because, for example, I use a tool. I'm on a Mac, and I don't know if you're a Mac user.
I'm using Mac right now.
I use a tool called Alfred, and I'm sort of deviating here, but basically this is a very cool tool. So instead of using Spotlight search, I use Alfred as my Spotlight search, and I can do all sorts of really cool things. For example, I can craft a tweet right from the search.
Oh, cool.
I can craft a tweet. I can search for certain things. If I want to pull up certain websites, I can get the current temperature. I can do all this stuff right from my command line without having to go open a web page or open the browser, open the tab, type in a URL. So if that's something you're interested in learning more about, Nick, I'm happy to share, some of my favorite tools that I use.
Yeah, I like that.
It's very customizable, and you can do some, for instance, I can open Evernote and find a specific note without having to actually open Evernote and then do a search. It does it.
I like that.
It literally does the search on the fly. So happy to share that.
Yeah, very cool.
So, the last tool is Google Allo. And I'm not sure if I'm saying this right, but this tool we've talked about this before. We talked about the other one, which was called Google Duo. Now, Google Duo, it was an app for just video messaging.
Right.
So, for example, it's basically the same FaceTime competitor,
right,
where I could go on and I could have conversations with people on Android from an iPhone or from Android to an iPhone, and vice versa. So I don't have to have just iOS device to iOS device. Now, what Google Allo does is it is a messaging platform, but it's very interesting because it's just like Facebook and Skype in the fact that it has disappearing messages, smart replies. You can do stickers, all that sort of stuff. And it also has an assistant built in as well.
Thanks for coming, Sarah. Sorry, I just wanted to thank her for coming.
No worries. Thanks so much, and we hope to see you next week. We do this every Thursday at 5 p.m. But yeah, so Google Allo.
Go back to Allo. What does it do? Allo is now kind of a combination of Duo and.
No, so Duo is just for video.
Right. Okay.
So, for example, if you and I want to have a video chat, we would use Google Duo. Now, Google Duo basically would just let us have a video chat. If we wanted to have an actual conversation over text message, that type of thing, we would use Google Allo. But Allo it's a smart messaging app that helps you say more and do more. But you can use stickers. It has a smart reply feature. It's got they say huge emoji, assuming that I guess the emoji on most other apps are smaller.
Yes.
And it also has Google Assistant as well. So we have a lot of built-in messaging apps. Essentially, it's like chatbots.
Okay.
So, for example, in one of the screenshots, you can use their assistant and say, "Hey, let's get Italian food," and I can do @Google Italian food nearby, and it will pull up Italian restaurants.
Okay.
Now, this is super, super, super important if I am a business and I am a local business and somebody happens to be looking for that sort of stuff.
Yep.
I want to make sure my business is set up for Google search for local businesses.
Yeah. And you do that through your Google My Business account or section of your Google account.
Absolutely. Yeah.
In a non-business, in a personal use, I'm thinking to myself, I don't need another messaging system.
Exactly.
That's what's going through my mind at the moment.
So here's what I think you have. You essentially have Google trying to trump Facebook, trying to trump Apple, Samsung, Microsoft, anyone that has their own essential virtual assistant.
Okay. All right.
For example, Siri. It's useful for some things.
Right.
There's a lot of times where I've used Siri before and it doesn't pull up everything. So I might, for instance, say, okay, you know what? I'm not going to use this tool. I'm going to use something else.
Yeah.
Microsoft Cortana, very good tool, except for the fact that it doesn't work very well, for instance, on my iOS device. So then if I tie in the Google piece, Google's a pretty cross-functional like platform, basically. I could be on the web, I could be on my phone, I can use Google Hangouts, have nice chats and conversations with people. But Allo basically will now give me some of that additional functionality.
Right. Okay.
That's essentially what it is. And I'd say, I like, if I were going to use it for anything, I'd say as a business, get my local business in order, make sure I'm showing up in search properly, that my business listing is correct. Just give you a quick example, where I'm at currently right now. I was trying to find a business a couple of days ago. And granted, my internet connection and somewhat has been spotty.
Yeah.
But I will say this. I knew the name of the restaurant. I put it in Google search and guess what? Or Google Maps did not come back.
Okay.
So it turns out, what did I have to do? I had to go look for an alternate business that was in the area. It was a restaurant. They don't have the same food. But I ended up finding the restaurant and realizing, hey, their Google, their listing is not correct. The name was not spelled properly.
Okay.
And so, if I'm a business, I want to make sure all my information is correct. So that as people start to use this, if I'm a Google user, Android user for sure, that all my information is correct and it's showing up properly for people. That way I'm going to get people to the place. If I hadn't spent that extra time looking for the place, I would have gone somewhere else and they would have lost a customer.
Right. That's right.
So that's where, that's where I can see this being very
value is. That's where the value is.
Yeah. And they're not going to, we've said this before, they're not going to get everybody to start using this, but the more people that, the more people that start to use this and the more that start to see results from it, the more that, that the restaurant's going to benefit and the customer is going to say, hey, this is pretty useful.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's right. And it looks like for Android users, which outside the US is massive, correct? The number of it. Yeah. So if you're
where I'm currently at, there's very few people, for instance, carrying around iPhones.
Right. So it's Android throughout most of the world. Android is the dominant player.
Absolutely. So that's all I have for this week. Do you have anything else you wanted to share?
No, that's it, man. I've got a call to make, and then I got to be back on camera for the test webinar shortly. So
sounds good. Well, we'll get you wrapped up here. So just a quick note: we've got next week's show scheduled. It's currently free. Petting this whole Fire Talk merger acquisition thing, whatever's going on there. Just keep your eyes glued to us on Twitter at Social Chefs, at CK Rocks, at experts.com VP. If we find anything else out, we'll let you know. And if you want to get on the email list, text Social Chatter to 33444. That'll get you an email once a week with the topics that we're going to talk about and a link to last week's show.
Excellent.
So with that, this went very well. I'm surprised the internet held up.
It held up, and the picture was pretty good the whole time. So I think it went well.
Awesome.
You've now live streamed internationally.
Definitely. Thanks a lot, Eileen. I'll see everybody. I'll be back on my normal schedule next week.
All right, guys.
But
thank you.
Good luck, and I'll see y'all later.
Talk to you later.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.